to connect. So, well, hello, everybody. It's really nice to see you. I'm very pleased to welcome all of you for the 6th webinar of acrobatic gymnastics proposed by European Gymnastics. This is the last of a series of 3 webinars that we've called Build the Complexity in Acrobatics. After this one, we will do a small break regarding webinars to let's share some other moments, hopefully live, with the competition that should restart very soon, and hopefully we can see each other in persons. We will come back to new webinars in the autumn 2021. I would like to take this opportunity to thank again European Gymnastics and particularly Farid Garibov, the president, who has offered this opportunity to share knowledge and experience in acrobatics during this very difficult period where acrobatics is suffering a lot through the entire world. I also would like to express my gratitude to all experts who accepted this new adventure, and also finally to you, all the participants who actively take part to these webinars and make them successful. I count with your feedback so we can come back later with new proposals according to your needs. So do not hesitate to let us know what you think of this webinar and how we can improve them and which kind of theme and subject you would like to see later. So welcome everybody. Just a few information. As always, you're used to these webinars and it will occur in the same way as always. So your camera is disconnected as well as your microphone, but you can speak to us using the Q&A, the question and answer section. I mean to us, to me and to the experts, which today are Lourenco Franca and Sergey Tretjakov. I will be the moderator, so I will always summarize your questions and pass them on to the experts. We will divide today the presentation in 4 parts. So we will have a small discussion after each element, so every 20-25 minutes. So we will speak in English only, and as always, and now it's very known that this webinar is recorded and that will be accessible on the YouTube channel of European Gymnastics in 1 or 2 days. So let's talk now briefly about this webinar today. So today we will speak about dynamic. With Sergey, we will speak about pairs, and especially we will talk about handspring to handstand and 4/4 rotation from handstand to handstand. I don't know if it's necessary now to present Sergey. Is a national coach of Belgium, and probably one of the most rewarded coach in the world. So it's difficult to summarize all the medals he got as a coach at European levels and world levels. But you know, he's a very famous coach. So thank you very much, Sergey, to join us. He's also taking part in the FIG Academy. Well, he's really a great expert. Thanks, Sergey, for joining us. So we will speak about groups and 2 very famous elements, the double straight and the triple. And that will be presented by Lourenco Franca. And I have to say that I'm also very honored that Lourenco is now joining us for this webinar for a long time now to share his experience and his knowledge. And the same as Sergey, I would say that it's not necessary to present him to you. Is the head coach in Maya in Portugal, and coaching so many medalists at a European and world level. And the same, I think the list would be too long to talk about it. So thank you very much. It's very, very an honor for us to have you both with us. And this webinar couldn't be successful without you. So I really would like once again to thank you thank you both to join us. I think I have spoken enough now. I would like to just wish all the participants a great webinar today. So do not hesitate to ask your questions. And I will now give the floor to Sergey.
Okay, thank you. So hello, everybody. I hope everybody can see me. I will start. I hope there will be no technical problems, but we will see. I just want to, yeah, okay. So today's subject is the handspring to handstand element. This element actually not that difficult skill element, but it can be a pretty good element for a base as a base element for another drills. You know, more difficult drills in senior level. I find that this element you can start from the level 12, 18, 13, 19. It's a pretty nice skill element for those ages in pairs, women's pair, mixed pair, men's pairs. Of course, for a senior level, just to do handspring on bent arms, maybe it's not that reasonable element because of value. It's not cost a lot, definitely for mixed pair, men's pair. But as I said, for a continue afterwards as a base element, we can use this element to create some more difficult by value skills. So the element looks like this. Okay, here is courbette. Just I leave this courbette that show the progression what can be. As you see, this element can do pairs with small difference, with big difference between partners as well. It will be depending of the technique, of course. And what I would like to mention that I saw actually a lot of version of technique. Today I will, let's say, introduce and propose you my vision of this element. I can explain why it's like that. Some technical nuances. Of course, in the end of the seminar, you can ask and maybe give your vision, and we can discuss about this, what is better and what is worse, let's say, in this presentation. Okay, so specifically about this element, I want to mention three parts of this element. So starting position, then the main part of this element, and landing or catching, you know. So for all those parts from these elements, of course, there is special preparation. I would like to start from the preparation of the base part. So pretty similar, simple exercise. Just first we look at this video. The lifting up and down. Okay. So what I would like to mention here, first of all, we're controlling the position of the base. As you see, he tried to keep his back straight. He tried to sit under the top partner as deep as possible. And we should pay attention on his grip of the top partner. Later on in other slides, I will especially mention the position of the hands of the base partner, because this part, please remember, it's pretty important to increase or decrease rotation of the top. Another point of this exercise, what I would like to mention, that the position of the top. As you see here, she keeps her body straight. She's not arching in back. She doesn't relax her waist and this part of the back. Of course, it's also from the work of the base. He doesn't let her relax and changing position of her body. This part is very important. During of the lifting, that she's saving her body straight and without arching. As you see later on as well. So the position, if I make the line, please look at this finger. If I make this line, so this line goes via through to the base partner, his shoulders, his hands, and the, let's say, the hip point over the top. Okay, next. Actually, the similar exercise, only with a little bit difficult version. So I put the base on the blocks, and you do the same exercise. for a preparation. As you see, I will make it stop now. So the target of this exercise to create the feeling of the work from the legs of the base partner. So as you see, he's sitting pretty deep. What for? We trying to create this feeling of the base. First of all, to let him use the legs, because the legs is the most powerful part of the body. You can create end speed and rotation as well because of legs. Second, in them case, of specifically, I'm talking now about this mixed pair. Yeah, there is pretty big tolerance. Differences between the height of the base and the height of the top is it's not huge, but pretty big. And in case if he will not able to sit so deep with a straight position of the body, he will use his back, of course, and then first of all, it will be depending on amplitude of element, second on direction of element and the quality of element as well. So what does it mean? That if he will not use his legs in correct way, the quality of element will be changed, and the top will be not able to make the right skill for this element. So it's why we're using this exercise a lot. By the way, we can use these exercises as well as a strength training. So in the previous slide and this slide, as you see on this video, we can do those kind of sets, you know, like 3-5 sets in the training by okay, it's depending how strong your base. So you can start from small amount of quantity of these repetitions, you know, and to increase like till 10 times in one set. So it will be pretty helpful for the future. So next step, based on these elements, what I showed you before, we try to create the communication between those two partners. Beginning of this element, similar as a simple handspring. So it's individual element. Actually, it's not that difficult element. Handsprings on two legs. So I want to mention this. So the beginning of the top is similar as this handspring element. And then we just try to create the work of the base based on the previous video and work of the top. So let me see. Okay. And now I just would like to show you, just for analyzing, the position of the top and position of the base in the beginning of this element. First of all, well, as we see, the top is not arching her back, so she's trying to control position of her body straight in the moment of throwing. Previous position of the base, if we see in the beginning of moment, he's sitting as on previous video when he was trying to create work of his legs. He's sitting as deep as possible. And as well, okay, maybe here it's not that lucky video because she was not closing her legs in the right time, so he has to bend his body a little bit. So normally the shoulders has to be more straight. But even in this case, the tempo is optimal to begin teach this element. And as you see, during of all lifting, he trying to support with his wrist under her back that she doesn't fly over him. So he give all his force via her back to the ceiling. So please look one more time, and I think you will understand what I'm talking about right now. So as you see, her toes in the highest point of the temp looking to the ceiling. It's not flying over the base part. So next step, I just would like to mention the final position of this element, because very often we see that kind of mistakes of the coach. They start to create or teach this element without knowing how need to do final position. That pair is not able to stand in handstand, so it doesn't know how need to land. It doesn't know that static hold, and they try to create element. And actually, maybe create element will go correct, but if you don't know how need to catch and make this final handstand, you will never succeed. And what I want to mention on this video and this picture, first of all, is position of the hands and wrists of the base. So the position of the arms here and here, they're not that open. So they little bit elbows looking inside. So the position of those arms, it's parallel to each other. Then we're looking for a video for the position of the wrist. The big toe is turning outside. If in the traditional holding in handstand, we trying and asking them to turn this big toe in other side, so here it will be other side of the traditional position. And please look attentively over here and over here. Let's recall this is the heel of the wrist. So he trying to support this heel from his wrist under the heel of the top partner, here and here. So this will be very important because in case if his hands will be too low, this part, top will be fall. So she will fall on her heels, and then it will be not possible to stand. The target and the whole of this position, that top standing with pressure on the finger, and the base, of course, he is helping her to save this support and stand on the finger. To make understandable, just take the blocks where they do handstands for preparations and look that the box has the angle, let's say it on 35, 40 degrees. So this angle is pretty important, and we try to copy this angle here and make it similar with the wrist. Okay. So just video, I just want to show you those parts. Karin, one question: is this video is not disturbing to see the presentation? Our camera.
No, it's fine.
Okay, it's just it's what I see. Okay, no problem. Okay, then we go further, and I would like to show you the positions of the. Sorry. Wait a moment. Something went wrong. Okay. So I would like to show you the position of the hands of the base partner. So as you see, if we first of all we look this picture, yeah. If we take the hands too low under the waist, it will be increase the rotation of the top partner. And as a single element on bent arms, actually will succeed. But further on, if you will try to create something more difficult and with some variations of this element, with salto with half turn or salto on straight arms, you'll have a huge difficulty. Why? Because in case if the base supporting back too low, legs of the top after her step and beginning of handspring will be great rotation. Then we will not have enough height, and of course to make it this element on straight arms will bring a problem. As well, if you do the same element with half turn, if there is too much rotation, you also will be struggling with this. Why? Because all saltos rotations, they all half turns and more turns, they increasing rotation on salto as well. Plus you make it already rotation because of this position. So another picture over here showing that this position is too high. In this case, even if with active step of the top, if she will step active, she will not able to have an rotation. Doesn't matter how fast and how speedy will be the pace with his legs and how high this element will be. You will be always struggling with the rotation of the top. So you need to really find the gold middle. I cannot give you exact position, there, but for your orientation, because everybody, let's say, is different, and of course the mass of the body is, let's say, we can approximately to find this point. Later on in another video, I will show you a proximal line where you have to take your hands. And another mistake that we very often to see during of the starting position with these hands, it's when bases most of the time it's in women's pair you can see, or with the little kids when the top is not that big, base is not that big, so his hands is really small, and sometimes they just take them partners from the sides, and as you see over here and here, yeah, she just in this case it's girl, yeah. So she's just using her thumb. Of course, thumbs will be thumbs, they will not give enough pressure and enough support and resist against of the speed of the top. So in case if top will be very active with her step, she will just not able to support her and of course to make her work with the lifting up. So please pay attention on this. Further on, let's say it is more or less, sorry for this picture, I try to make it big as possible that everybody can see. But as you see, first of all, you take this picture. So this line is the approximately line where you have to support your top. As you know, here is like two bones you have, yeah, the hips bones, or I don't know actually how you can call, but just look on this arrow. So it's here and here. So a line is under these bones. So on this picture, we can see that by wrist, the base supporting approximately under these bones. She doesn't take lower and she doesn't take higher because as I said on previous videos, if the hands will be too low, she will not block the waist of the top. So it will be weak part of the back. And after the step, active step, the top will break this part of the back. Yeah, if she will take it too high under her bone, then top will be not able to throw her heels and make it pressure on with a straight body on the base partner. I think it's clear, and if there's some doubting about this, please make a question in the end of this session. So second step, we have to prepare the top. Yeah, there will be two kinds of preparation: the technical part and the strength training. Because as you understand already, because of this bending, there has to be some special exercises on the floor out of this exercise to explain the top what she should do, and she must be ready for this. So very simple exercises. You can use these exercises as a strength training. They, let's say, they simple, but the trick is to trying to do correct these exercises. Yeah? First of all, what I want to mention here, where is my arrow? So what I would like to mention here, as you see, okay, she has a little bit angle in the shoulders. Yeah, it's natural angle, and she will do. But she doesn't use only arms for this closing. So she's trying to lift all her body, because this is will be main part during of her element, during of the middle part of this element. She will have to try to close and lift her back up by herself, of course, with the force of the base. You can use this exercise also as a condition training. So you can do 5 sets 10 times approximately. It will be already enough. Second video, you can just combine, this exercise with another one. It's also a kind of strength training, but she has to able to explode for a closing, as fast as possible. So the same requirements, 5 sets, 5 sets, about 10 times in a set. Okay. Further on, if she's easy to do those kind of exercise, we see that physically she strong enough to make this closing. We can try to create the element and to explain the top what she should do. Yeah, so very simple. We put her on the block. We just try to put her in condition similar and close of element, the real element, to explain her that she knows what she must do. So as you see, so she just from the block kind of rolling via press handstand. So she is closing as well. This is kind of powerful and strength training. So you can use this element as a strength training for a condition. Also, it's depending how strong your top. Okay, with little ones, of course, they're not strong enough. Maybe she will be able to do 3 times, 5 times, maybe even 1 with your help as well. But you can do this amount also as a condition training, from 3 till 10 times. Try to increase this amount of this repetition, and about 3-5 sets, 3-5 sets in the training. So only one thing what I would like to mention here. Just miss it. Okay, so during of her lifting her back, look please in this part of the body, in the shoulders. So she trying to stand her shoulders straight on the floor and to lift her back above the shoulders and above the wrist. Shoulders doesn't go forward. And of course, if she will not strong enough, she will compensate the when it's not enough power, she will compensate with the shoulders. She will try to push shoulders forward to lift her back. This is actually this mistake, and this mistake will be disturbing you to make element. So please make sure that during this exercise, the quality of element is correct. So she's trying to lift her back with the right position of the shoulders. So actually, it's similar element as a press handstand. And of course, it will be much easier to teach top those kind of drill if she already able to do some kind of presses. Further on, we do, based on this element, we do already little copy of the handspring to handstand, only on the floor without partner. So look what she's doing. Just beginning as a handspring, she's rolling and do press. So actually, this is already the model of the element handspring. Of course, it's not that easy, and sometimes it doesn't mean that if the top is not able to do this element, you will not able to start to teach this element. But it's kind of requirement which will be help you to teach this element faster. I mean, requirement for a top partner. So just look one more time. Straight position with the toes, she's closing toes, closing, and then fast as possible, she's standing her shoulders in straight position and try to lift her back. Okay, so this is the main. Of course, there can be much more another preparation of this element. It's up to you what you use, and I know for sure that another coach use a lot of another very nice drills, for a preparation and for explanation of the top. So you all can do and be creative in this case. So try to search, maybe you'll find something more easy and much nicer. But this is kind of the basis elements, which is helping you in any way to teach this element, depending on the strengths of your gymnast, and it will be depending how long it will take. So another video after this preparation of the top. So we try to make it preparation for a general element. So we're connecting the top together with the base. So also very simple exercise, just to make them understand. I just want to mention one thing and explain. The guy is pretty tall, so I had only 3 blocks. Actually, it would be much better if you would lift to this line, to make this block higher. So then it will be more similar as an element. So you will make it already model of the element much closer to reality, let's say. But the principle, I just want to show you the principle right now. So also, she just do simple press. Also, it's this element kind of condition. It's your repetition one set, 3-5 repetitions would be enough to make it 3-5 sets in the training. So it's already will be helpful. Few things what I have to mention here. I will try to catch. So please, all the time, watch out for the wrists. Why? Because now, as you see in the beginning of this session, I was mentioning the position of the hands, of the face. I was mentioning the supporting parts of the wrist. How should they support? And I was give example for the blocks. As you see, they're standing blocks, and they with the angle like 35-40 degrees. So actually, here is similar angle as on these blocks. And during of the work, doesn't matter what top doing, if she's lifting back, if she's closing legs, or if he's sitting as well, he will try, and as you as a coach have to mention this and pay attention, that his wrist doesn't change. So it's simple exercise. And of course, after the flight, there will be, the moment of flying, moment of catching. He must try to catch his partner, on this wrist. Doesn't matter what he's do further on, if he's sitting deeper or he's standing straighter, the wrist always standing in the same position. I just try to find where he sit. Actually, there will be another video. So I think you understand. So this is first condition for this element, and second condition, the top, by repetition from her previous exercises, she tried to copy the same position of her body and shoulders, like we was preparing her myself on the blocks on the previous video. So next, Actually, the same principle as on previous video, but we just make it a little bit more difficult. So she start to go from sitting, and then of course, yeah, it should be higher. Then it should be more clear as a real element. And then we just already adding the legs of the base because he will have to stand here and create his feeling, to stand partner in handstand. So please, sitting and stand. It's also kind of strength trainings as well, together with technical parts. So look at this repetition, yeah. He's a little bit struggling with the sitting because it's too low. It has to be higher. And one more time. And here I would like to again show you his positions. Voila. In sitting. As you see, he tried to keep maximum his back straight. Okay, it will be not really clear, and he will not able to keep exactly straight because she still go from that place, let's say from the zero. She's trying to stand with him. But I would like to mention position of the arms and wrists. As you see, he's always holding this support. He's not lifting them too much. He doesn't lift too much elbows. Elbows, let's say, parallel to the body. They're standing vertical to the floor. It's why it's vertical because then it's helping you to save position of the wrist. If you will change this position, if they will be too high, she will fall backward with the shoulders and then with the whole body. If it will be too flat, she will not able to leave her bone on the supporting point. I think you understand. So just one time I give this video. Okay. So further on, well, this exercise just this is courbette. Just look first and back. Voila. So this exercise actually can be even more difficult than salto from a handspring from floor to handstand. But I would advise you to do in the same moment when you want to educate handspring to handstand. I would advise you to do some repetition with courbette. Why? Because actually it's creating very good feeling of throwing for another elements as well, but also, which is very important, creating the feeling of catching and landing. And for the top, the same as for a base. And here just a few key moments, what I want to mention. I will not stay too long on this part, but a moment of sitting with look. So he as well try to save the wrist without he supporting wrist, but he doesn't lift his heels too much, extremely much up. He also don't put his elbows and he doesn't make flat position because then she will sit with her bone backward and the moment will go backward. So just look at this line as well. It's for your checkpoint, let's say. Arms of the top, they're standing up, and she will try to grow with her arms to the ceiling. Position of the shoulders above the supporting point, and you continue this line via his shoulders on his supporting point. So if you will just imagination here line, this line has to go through to them both on the K positions, supporting position, his foot, his hips, her support and his arms, her hips, and almost her shoulders. So this is actually the right position for a beginning. And then second step of catching. So he tried to catch her as high as possible. He is not bending arms before she landing. So he really tried to go. Here you can see Maxim. He's standing in full his high, and he's really growing to her with his outstretched arms to catch her as high as possible. And then he will try by strong arms to fade all her flight. Because if he will weight her too low or will catch her on the relaxed arms, definitely arms is not as legs. She will, will be out of her supporting position, out of the shoulders. Waist will be relaxed. And by the way, in the end of the catching, if you catch her on the relaxed arms, he will definitely not able to save his wrist. So if there will be problem with the wrist, top will fall. Okay. So I have another video already out of the launch. So please look. Oh no. Sorry, little technical problem. Yeah, it's blue.
It's stuck on the
Yeah, it's just, you know, like doesn't respond on my actions. I push on the buttons, just blocked. I had several times as well. You know, I was trying to copy this program several times, then it was working, but again I have the same problem now.
Maybe you need to switch off your computer and come again.
What do you mean switch off? Just completely, but it will take time.
Presentation at least.
What I try to do this, but I can't. It's not reacting on the buttons. Oh, now it should work. Sorry for that.
Don't worry, that happens.
We will have to wait a few seconds. Yeah. Wait. Am I still connected?
Yes, but we can only see you. You need to share your screen.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay. And then oh, it's not the same. Sorry. Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Just find where we will stop. It was Corbett. Yeah. Okay. So it's working now. So as you see here, already without launch, I especially keep this version because there is kind of mistake. Yeah, and I would like to mention this mistake because this mistake can be afterwards in element as well. So look, please. A mistake is over here. So the top doesn't leave her back high enough. She has to really bend completely. Then she will have a land straight to handstand. Yeah, as you see on this picture, I fix it. Yeah, so she try early open her foot. In that case, okay, she is light, he is strong enough for this weight, it's work. But if you will not pay attention on this part, and during of element, and this is quite often, she will try to open her heels early and try to get in handstand. Definitely you will not succeed. So what you have to ask your top, it's always, first of all, to stand her back, her bomb, let's say it, yeah, in straight line together with the shoulders. So she really have to try to bend as much as possible. And on previous elements, when we slides when we was prepare our talk. You remember the blocks, the press handstands from the blocks. I was mentioned that she always have to close and lifting her back as much as possible to the ceiling, so that line of the shoulders and back gets straight. So this is a moment I want to mention. And as I said, okay, maybe you will not succeed out of the launch in the beginning with this courbette, but I would like to really advise you to do this element because in the future, definitely it will help you to make this element much stable, handspring, and also in future you will have a lot of other elements based on these courbettes. And the second part of my session will be salto from handstand to handstand. I will explain a little bit more in details of this courbette technique, and you will understand why those kind of preparation very important, not only for a specific element, but let's say it in general, it's really based of the base element for a tempo exercise. Okay, so then this element consists of the three parts, as I said to you, yeah, presenting to you. So it's starting part, then main part when top is bending, and final part. So all those parts I was explaining to you in show, and then we just try to connect these parts with the right technique of presentation. Yeah. So first hystrokio, then we do this part in the middle of exercise. Okay, and then as I was showing to you courbettes, so it will be the catching part. Voila, on hard arms. Here, as I said, he has to catch you on stronger arms because in this case, as you see, he has a little mistake. He catching you too soft, with what is concerning just this element. And now in the end, I just want to show you this element, how it looks like after those kind of preparation, what I was introducing. So actually, in them case, it's looks nice. It's pretty nice element. Technical moments for me it's good enough as well, and it's not only for this single element, but it's also for a future to create something more difficult based on this element. So what we can based on this element, what can we build? You know, so it can be handspring on straight arms. It can be handspring, salto handspring with turn on 180 degrees. It can be salto over. It can be double salto over. It will be depending from your fantasy, from your needs as well, what you need for your program. And of course, I would advise to do this element as a base preparation. By the way, how long and how difficult you can build based on this element, what element you can build. I saw on video, not in real, but I saw on video Ukrainian men's pair. They introduced this element on straight arm with half turn, hand to hand. So this handspring on straight, hand to hand, with turn on 180 degrees. So it was excellent element I never saw in my life. And for me, this is really would be a very nice difficulty and also very nice presentation to see this kind of element. So as you see on based on very simple, how can you create something more difficult? Okay, so this was the main explanation, not main explanation, my explanation of this element. So if you have any question, please make your questions.
Thank you very much, Sergey, for all the progression presented to us. I think it was very clear for all coaches. So this is your time now to the participants. If you have some questions or remarks, or you can use the question and answer section to ask them to Sergey. Maybe I will give the floor to Lourenco while you're writing your question. If Lourenco, you have some comments or remarks or
hi everyone. Subject. First of all, good morning or good afternoon to everyone. It's a delight to be here again. I really enjoyed the part that you talk about the hands of the base, because sometimes is something we neglect and we forget. I normally tell my tops the Lego hands, so they don't open fingers and they can damage any finger. So like the Lego toy, so they enter with like this, and for them it connects really easy. So they enter the base with fingers closed, only the thumb is open. But I really enjoyed some of the progressions, especially the ones in the high block. They are really nice.
Okay. I just want to mention, Lorenzo started to speak about the hands. There is one little tricky thing, you know, also quite often come the mistake of the top, when top want to catch base. So in these cases, you always have to give explanation that base is catching top. Top just give you her hands, like Lorenzo said, with closed fingers, that is not damaged, only big thumb is open a little bit. So this is a little nuance, but sometimes, you know, you struggling with this element and everything is correct and you cannot understand why they not succeed. It can be that top wants to catch the partner. So in this case, there is no catching from the top. All catches go from the base partner. Just keep in mind. Okay.
We have one question from Eve.
Yeah.
Is asking which way you prefer to do handstand with half turn in the case that the base and the top have different twisting direction.
Okay. I can tell you like this. Everything what we do, it's serving the top. So what does it mean? That we do as good as possible condition for the top. If, for instance, my side as a base left, but top wants to turn right, I will have to catch her on the right side. Why? Because coordinational moments much difficult from the top in this cases. Yeah, actually for a base he just sitting throwing and then he just adapting his arm. By the way, I can tell you that I had maybe if you remember there was a mixed pair. That actually it was he. The base had different tops. One of the top was left turn side, and afterwards another top was right. And with both tops, we did these elements. So he was adapting very easy and very quickly for another side. It was not a problem. But to change the side of the top, I think it would be much difficult if she's used to it, do randar and twist, you know, on left, and then you will say it, okay, because of your base, want to catch on right, to change her, it can be kind of complications, you know, and she can even, you know, to be like stuck with a turn during all these elements. So I would advise to change the side of the base than to touch top. Your side.
Okay, thank you very much, Sergey. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, well, really, once again, thank you. The participants are saying that it was an amazing presentation with great progressions. So I suggest that now one more question and then we go with the double straight. A question regarding performing this element in groups. Where is the correct position of hands to push for the bases?
Well, actually, the principle is the same as mixed pairs. Only, you know, here's throwing two people. So, and of course, there will be not enough space on the waist of the top to put all four hands. So, like we do the one hand. If we do, let's say, wait, I will come to the this part of the hands, then we'll explain easier. Well, so can you see?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, if we in trio, let's say it, yeah, then we take this picture. The left partner will use his right hand under the waist and left hand under the shoulders. And the same principle, only mirror principle. Yeah, the right partner will use his left hand and right hand under the shoulder. So approximately it has to be the same spot of the support. As on pairs, the same on trios. So is it clear or not?
Absolutely clear. Thanks, Sergey.
So, and actually the main support goes from the hands, because sometimes you can see the mistake, they want to start to lift here from the shoulders. No, it will not work, because then rotation will be come much earlier and direction will be changing, so it will not go up. So you really, even the preparation for a trios is the same, similar preparation as I showed to you in the beginning with the base, or single base. So they have to create the same sitting and standing with the safing position of the straight safing position of the top, with this preparation of sitting and standing. There maybe you don't have to use the blocks, just simple on floor. From zero, she's standing handstand, they take her support, another hands under the shoulders, and try to lift her up and down. Afterwards, little bit increasing the height, trying to lose this part of the supporting, and we continue to lifting her in straight position to handstand under the shoulders. But the main throwing goes from the support, which is going under the waist. So something like this.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, Sergey. I suggest that we continue now with the double straight, and I will give the floor now to Lourenco to show us what is his knowledge in this skill. Thank you.
So I have to get out from the.
Yes. And share the screen.
So am I out or not?
It's okay.
Okay, great.
So is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
So, it will be a separated presentation. We will start with the double layout, but nevertheless, well, I just put that quote there because it's exactly how I think it's not a small step for gymnasts, but I think it's really a giant leap for the coaches to teach, to spot, to coach these two elements, the double straight and the triple salto. So we will start with the double straight, with some, to get an idea from double pitch and also from platform, so we can have an idea of what the gymnasts they need to perform to have, as clear as possible what is this kind of elements, and not just the top, because we normally tend to look high, we tend to look at the top and we forget all the work that's done below, all that trampoline that puts them in the air. Nevertheless, it's important that we understand this basic concept. And in all my presentations, when I'm talking about dynamic elements, I will bring this up because it is really, really important. If we understand what are the actions doing, what are our body segments doing, it's really easy. And if this inertia concept is easy to understand for a rest body, if it's rest, it will stay still. The important thing is what happens when we are doing movement. And inertia tells us that we can change the speed of any rotation by changing the body shape, like this ballerina or a high skater. If we always see them starting spinning open arms, and then they start closing, and speed increases. And that is due to that angular momentum conservation, and the angular velocity will increase. So the bigger the area, the slower we rotate, okay? And it's really important for us to understand that when you do a double straight, you will rotate really or slower than in other body shapes. And this is just a really, really cool video that I got permission to show you, so you can see this is without gravity. You just watch how fast it spins from straight to pike, to tuck, and now when he opens, immediately he slows it down. It is, I'll put it again because it's really amazing to understand. You see, the segments of the body starts closing around an axis, immediately rotates faster, and then when he opens the segments, immediately almost stops. And that is really important for us to understand that if you go from that position with open, all open body, straight arms, to a tuck, fully tuck position, you will rotate 5 times faster. But for us in the double straight, the important thing is that action of lowering the arms. And if you go from a really correct position in the beginning with straight body, using all the inertia possible, to just lowering fast the arms, you will rotate 40% faster. And you have to take notion that 90% of the mistakes, they will happen on takeoff, on the moment of the beginning of the flight. They will not happen in the air. It's when bases and tops are connected to push. That's where 90% of mistakes happen. So I think, well, I have some drills for you to, I separate this in 4 moments, okay? For the top, to understand the rotation, how can they change speed? How can they go from the first to the second salto, and understanding the landing? So I just have some simple drills for the tops to understand this, just with a rubber band. So they can understand the importance of having a tight body and not a sloppy body. This one also for them to understand the importance of the arms and on the rotation. So open arms, closing, increase speed, open and increase speed, open and increase speed. This is really a nice thing for you to try with them. This is for them to understand again how rigid the body should be and the action of the arms in the beginning of the takeoff. Again, sometimes they get out on the double straight, arching too much the back. And when they arch the back too much, they are sending the back on the floor and not the chest on the ceiling. And these exercises for them to understand the stiffness, the tightness of the body, they are really important. This is one I use very much with the elastics, okay? It is also conditioning for me, which is important. You see, when the gymnast push back, I push in the different direction. And when she pushes down, she will kick the hips up, okay? So up. This is pretty much the same as we did on the parallel bars, but with my assist, okay? And this is one I particularly like for them to understand the importance of the arms, okay? If they don't do anything and they lift off perfectly vertical, they will go slow rotation. So they will just do 2 quarters, okay? So if I can show it again. This one. So just don't move the arms, and you will do just 2 quarters of a salto, okay? So this is another for them to understand the change okay, of the first to the second. And it's good while you are young and they are small. When you start getting old, probably you will not do it, especially with heavier tops. But this is really nice. I've done it, you know, a few times, and it's really cool for them to understand what they can do from first to second. We have the bungees, so we use them for them to understand the arm action, you know, from hop, and then when they fast lower the arms, the hips go immediately up. Okay, and this is really nice for them to experiment, you know, like those bungee in those ferries. And this is just a small drill for the bases and also for the top. Okay, it's just for them to understand as catching as high as possible, and for the top, you know, to have a hollow back. So sometimes they don't, you know, I try to explain them, I want them to do the end of a flick. Okay, in the end, they should kick a little bit feet forward so they can protect the ankles, and they will help the bases lifting their chest. Okay, and this is the kind of, you know, like end of a round of flick salto. So this is pretty much some of the drills we normally go step by step. But then for the bases, there are some things that are really important. And if you talk about double pitch, you have to realize that the bases are not connected like in a platform. So the coordination between them is really important. The synchronization of bending legs and pushing is really important, because the bases are connected through the top. Okay, there's no, they are not grabbing each other. So it's really important that all the seating, all the coordination is done perfectly, flawlessly, so there's no inclination on the vertical jump. Sometimes my gymnasts complain a little bit, I spend too much doing just bending and throwing, but you know, I think we should do that until we feel safe. No one will go faster or making any problem in the takeoff. Okay, it's important also for them to understand that fast push-up at the end. So, you know, if you think that this movement is like a rocket going on the sky, the rocket doesn't start immediately. So it will start slowly to lift all that big mass, and then when it's easy, it's like when you start pushing a car, you don't immediately start pushing really fast. It's hard in the beginning because there's a big mass, and because of inertia, the car is stopped. It wants to continue, stop. So you have to make a big force to start moving. So all the movement should be from a really powerful from the beginning to really fast in the end. And they need to understand that. And finally, anticipating the landing. So it is a video of you know, this in slow motion. You can see the coordinate bending. The top doesn't bend that much, and then the fast so leg action, torso action, and then arm action, and then trying to prepare as high as possible. So I'll try to show it again. So they bend, and then everything starts with the legs, and then go a little bit on the back, and then a lot in the arms. Then you wait for the top. Hopefully she will take a long time. And then you try to catch as high as possible, anticipating all the landing. So this is the general idea. As you see, the top starts fully straight, okay? Arms not too much arched in the beginning, okay? To maximize the moment of inertia. And then she will lower the arms and increase the rotation, okay? And that yellow dot that you see is approximately where should be the center of mass. And it's really important that because of this action of fastening, lowering the arms, you will see the center of mass almost doesn't change and the top rotated 2/4 of the salto. Okay, and it's really, it's that moment in the air where she almost stops and she rotates 2/4 of a salto and the center of mass just came down, you know, little bit. Everything because the arms were really fast getting down, so increasing the rotation. And then preparing the landing. It's much nicer in the photo that it was in the actual video because the bases, they catch a little bit lower, but here it's really nice. So it's just two examples. This one and this one. I show this one because, you know, it was a joint venture. Sergey started this move with this trio, and they were almost taking out of the belt. And then a few weeks later, I went in and we were able to take it out. The catching was not that perfect. I had to replace a base because she almost fell. But you know, the general idea is this: you open as much as possible, you close as fast as you can, and then don't use your chin to lead the movement. Everything with your hips. Okay, and that is it for the first part.
Thanks a lot, Lourenco. Sergey, while the participants are writing their questions, do you have any comments and maybe on this adventure to teach this double straight to another group?
Well, no, everything was. I mean, last video, or what do you mean exactly? I cannot understand.
Well, any comments?
Okay, the comments are actually everything absolutely clear, and Lourenco absolutely right with all his instructions. I just want to manage because he showed everywhere, but he doesn't said for me really clear about this. You know, I think because he's know the technique pretty well, you know, and he maybe it's like not important for him to mention. Very often we see he said about the position of the head. The chin has to be on the chest. But another problem is this element. Very often we see that coach ask the gymnast, the tops, to rotate the salto via chest. Even with closed head, you know, they start to open chest, and then rotation is not suited as well. So like Lourenco said, that we have to mention that rotation goes via hips. All the time we throwing our hips on both saltos, because in the beginning when you of course first salto you're passing with a rotation of the hands, like Lourenco said, yeah, with maximum of throwing up and then returning them with giving hips. But on second salto there is also extra rotation, and this extra rotation we're creating also via hips. And like as Lourenco said, you know, it's very important the starting position. During the starting position we have to throw arms together, coordinate arms together with hips without open head and open chest. But when you're passing first salto, you will need extra rotation, or the top has to be very small, you know. But it's not let's say case we're talking about. And this extra rotation you can increase again by lifting hips up. And all this exercise Lourenco showed, it's really prepare to create this rotation. And I want to mention it's not only in first part, but also in second part of this three salto, you have to do the same thing. So actually everywhere what Lourenco showed on all videos, yeah, they do. You can see that the coach work on these moments, just to mention one time for all our participants to know this little bit.
Yes, sometimes you see them breaking a little bit on the back, trying to get more rotation by putting shoulders down, and they forget that the important is to lift the chest and not bringing the shoulders down. Yeah, but they in their head they will increase the rotation if they make it, and what they are doing is breaking all the salto, bringing everything. So I think the important principle they need to understand is everything trying to lead with the hips, not breaking the shoulders on the floor. And we can learn a lot from seeing the tumblers, because they do it, excellent. And
trampoline as well, they have right technique and tumblers. Yeah, that's true. And by the way, it's very important. Okay, maybe for double straight, it can be some kind of mistake with open back and open chest and head. Even you will succeed, but in the moment when you will start to add some twist rotations, you immediately will have a problem with this.
Yeah.
So it's showing like checkpoint. If double straight is wrong, you will not succeed with it.
Yeah, completely. I really like the tumbling because they don't have that much height. In trampoline, they can jump 8 meters. We can't. And in tumbling, they cannot also. So they need to be really optimal, jumping and doing the salto as clean and perfect as possible. And the other thing is that they want to continue. They do a double straight and want to continue. So sometimes if we go and watch the other disciplines, I think it's a really interesting thing to understand what are they doing, and that we can bring that to us also.
Yeah, that's correct. Absolutely.
So it looks like we do not have any questions because
it was great presentation.
It was absolutely clear and perfect. So let's continue now with the second element. The salto from handstand to handstand.
Mm-hmm. Wait a moment. Can you see?
No, you need to share your screen.
Yeah.
It's not shared.
Now?
Yes, it works.
Okay, great. Okay, so second part, salto from handstand to handstand. Well, just present this element, how it looks like. Okay, so before I start to my presentation, I just want to mention a few things. It's a difficult element. It's not extremely difficult, but a difficult technical element. And the difficulty of this element, there is a lot of little nuances in the starting position and in the landing position. Because of, if we don't prepare this element by correct way and not prepare this element by pieces, we will have always instability during of the competitions. Why? Because those nuances, what we prepare during of our repetitions of our preparation elements, those nuances depending on the quality element a lot. And what is exactly depending? You can do this element perfectly on training, from 100 times. But with little, even there can be some little technical mistake. And you can succeed. But on competition, the tricky thing is too much adrenaline most of the time, And if you not pay attention on those nuances, it's always bring problems or overturn or not enough turn or it's just fell, So at least it will be a little mistake. The worst case, it will be just fall. I will try to mention those nuances, you know, they're pretty important. And, I can tell you like this, we don't have a lot of time. My presentation difficult to explain all these nuances because I will tell you as example, I do this element with a lot of pairs. My pairs was presenting this element on competition and just on training was depending did we use this on competition or not. And every pair, new pair, bring new mistakes. So I cannot take all these kind of mistakes in one presentation. Believe me, it's a lot. And every new pair bring something special, something from them on. So I will just touch the basis principles, the basis mistakes often people do during of this element. Okay, so just here we go. This was an element. So I just want to mention it's the same principle like salto handspring to the floor. The element principle. The element built from three phases, from three steps: starting position, main element, main self salto, and landing positions. And if the main part is not the difficult here, based even on the previous element what we was looking handspring to handstand, you know, the difficulty will be most difficult will be in the starting position and the landing position. And the most requirements here for a base. Let's say if base is experienced enough and he is following all the requirements, then element will be succeed from 99% and you will be succeed in education of this element much faster if you have experienced base who knows the technique of throwing and technique of catching. So we start with the preparation of the base. Actually, it's preparation for a balls, you know, but actually it's concerning the base and more requirements will be for a base partner. We start from very simple exercise. As you see, just lifting up and down on straight arms. The condition requirements for this exercise, first of all, he, as you see, he sits slowly. He's not falling in sitting. Why? Because he has to give time to the top to understand his movement. She has a time to realize in what moment he's sitting, in what moment he stop his sit, and in what moment he will start to throw. It's very important for a top because in case if base do his work too fast, she will just not concentrate and not spotting the all her drills in right moment. As we see second step, what I want to say, we always will pay attention on the wrist. Actually, the same requirements like I was explaining to you in previous presentation about the hands face to face. So this is traditional position. By the way, you can do this element also face to face direction, but there's something else. Technique will be the same. There will be different kind of support. But now we take this example, and we during of this exercise we creating the feeling of the wrist and the position of sitting. So as you see, he tried to save first of all his position with straight shoulders, and during of sitting he don't change the wrist and trying to lift the top in his toes. The position of the top is saving as well. And work of the top, she just have to try to save position of her handstand with straight position in the shoulders, in the waist as well, so she doesn't relax and just standing straight. Okay, and slowly he tried to pull down. Would be nicer if he would sit deeper after the end of the tempo. Okay, so second step, when your base able to do, let's say, at least 5 times in a row, lifting up and down without extremely walking or running or falling from handstand, and top is ready to stand, of course, because this element, let's say, it's not really element of the junior level. It's element already of the experience senior level. Okay, can be some exceptions, you know. You never know how talented gymnast and coach can be. So, but whatever. Next step, we try to create starting position with throw. And this is actually, it's pretty difficult drill. And why it's difficult? Because first of all, your base has to be strong enough to throw the top, and top has to be strong enough during of the flight to save position of your body. Well, so it's like this. Okay. As you see, what I was mentioned in the previous video, yeah, how he sits slowly, then he do pause, and in this pose, it kind of check pose, yeah, for you to see the spot, to see the position of the wrist and position of the arms. He don't have to move. The arms, it's one block together with the body. They're not separate of the body. They not do additional swing, or they're not lifting up during of the sitting, or they're not opening in elbows, or not changing the wrist. It's very good. Now I discovered that I can see myself, and you probably can see me. So the wrist maximal open, it's not closing inside, it's trying to be straight, because if it's closing inside, top standing like this. If she was standing like this, it will be depending on elbows, and shoulders should be out. Yeah. Then second step, during of throwing, he tried to throw her straight to her toes without changing the wrist, because if wrist will be changed during of throwing, it will be depending on position of the toe. I have the same video, only from another side. And here, look again, the temp. And here I would like to mention a few things. First of all, sitting, boom. As you see, during of sitting, he tried to save position of her handstand. She doesn't close, she doesn't do special angle in her hips. It's closing position, but not extremely bent, yeah? So her back is closed. During of his sitting, as you see, he's not bending, he's trying to sit with his straight shoulders. Why? Because this position will be depending on position of the toe. And in the moment, if he will start to bend without using his legs, he will start to change elbows, he will start to change supporting position in the wrist, and it will be involved on the position of the toe, which is very important on this element. So if top is not controlling her position in sitting, and this is coming from the base. Sorry, if base is not controlling her position on the top, the element will start or too early, or with extreme rotation, or can be some other problems. Can be a lot of problems because of this. So just look one more time. Then, as you see, in the end of drawing, we see this kind of. Where is my end of drawing? Wow. So as you see, so if we imagination their line, like straight line, this line is passing via through to them both. So as you see, the toes of the top is not falling backward. They're not closing behind the base. Base finished in straight position with the back, because he in the right moment using his legs and make it enough speed, powerful speed to make this inertia for it all. So this is, let's say, it checkpoint for you to see how correct is temp, to prepare the temp for a salto to handstand. Okay, so one more time. As you see, he's sitting very soft, trying to control before throwing the top, and try to throw exactly like a stick to the ceiling. Okay, so after this, top preparation. Actually, top preparation, there the tricky thing to explain the top, how need to do further. Who doesn't understand or who doesn't know this terminology, further, let's say it's second part of the handspring. As we did previous presentation, yeah, there I was showing to you really preparation for salto, handspring salto from the floor to the rest. Beginning, and then she closing legs, and then she flying with open line on two legs when you do handspring. So we need this second part from handstand, open line and landing on legs. To create this moment, there's going to be tricky mistakes, you know. First of all, if they not strong enough, or you just say to kids, okay, let's do this handspring via arms, they do by easy way. So they're relaxing them chest, open them shoulders. Sometimes they do soft in the back, and they do just by hyperextension, you know, by relaxing back, they do this handspring, which is not correct. So we do several exercises, you know, strength exercises. It's a lot of them. I just give you the basis one to explain how she should work with the heels from what she is doing rotation. Yeah. So simple exercise like this. As you see, she just throw her toes without changing position of the back. Yeah. So you can do as a condition training also, you know, 10 times in one set, about 5 sets. Yeah. By the way, even you can put the weights afterwards, little weights, that she's really working with the heels in hard back. Second exercise. So We here a little bit mistake, I would like to, I just, when I start to create this presentation, then I discover she should be with the shoulder, stay with the hands closer to the wall. Then you will understand now what I mean. Then she doesn't have this mistake. So we try to explain to her how she should work with the heels. You see, she's throwing the heels. But in this moment, very important, you see he's supporting her arm, shoulders. She doesn't have to change the shoulders. They don't have to be angled. So she has to stay exactly straight with her shoulders, and the work goes only from the heels. And of course, by this exercise, it's a little bit difficult to keep the shoulders. But the requirement during of the further, when she will do with a partner, she has to work only with the heels. And then you will see now on next video, what do I mean? Look, I just try to explain here from what part she has to turn, yeah? Here. Just like that. So as you see, she's not open in the shoulders, she doesn't open in chest, she just throwing her toes. First of all, just try to create and explain to her from what she has to work. And on this video, I just will tell her to make active heels, destroying and even like overturn. So that she's turning more than enough, let's say it. Yeah, why? That she know how need to work with the heels. And special requirement for this exercise that she doesn't relaxing back. I try to explain to her that she's during of throwing her toes, she's tightening the back. So it's like she pulling with her toes over her head without relaxing back, without changing the position of the shoulders. Because if she will relax back and relaxing shoulder, first of all, direction will change of this further, and second, if she will relaxing back, the rotation will be increasing, which is really dangerous for this element. Okay, so next element preparation. Значит, when I was talking the first part of our election about handspring, yeah, I was mentioning about courbets. And actually, I can tell you that all tempo, let's say 70% of tempo in acro and pairs, it's built from 3 elements. It's very staged, but it is like this. It's courbet to handstand, courbet from handstand to the legs, and further. Based on this element, all saltos rotations you're able to teach afterwards if you know the skill of this element and technique of this element. So what you're starting from, okay, I advise you to start from the launch. I don't want to take the time because it's we limited today in the time. So I will explain already with ready people, let's say. So first of all, why? It's again we have a problem. Karin, sorry, it's again blocked. I'll have to restart again. I don't know what's up.
Maybe it's because the presentation is very heavy with the video.
Actually, I don't have a lot of things on my computer, so I really don't know why it's like that. Now I need to. Yeah. Okay. Just try to find where we are. Well, so we start from courbets. As you see here, throwing, catching, and back. So it don't have to be in link in the beginning. And as you see, in this case, yeah, I can start without her sitting off the top. Of course, it's not, from one side, it's much easier because I don't have to coordinate the sitting position, yeah, to coordinate the work together. But from another hand, it will be much difficult because you have to have strong, the base has to be strong enough to throw her without sitting. So you can do or from straight legs, or if you're able to do temp with jump of the top, you do with jump of the top. But why I make this video? Just to explain you one tricky thing. During of the sitting, what we pay attention on? We pay attention on again on the wrist of the base partner. Wait, I will try to catch this moment. As you see, yeah, he was sitting and standing without changing his shoulders and his wrist. On legs, of course, it's much easier to control the position of the top by sitting from the base, you know. And we try to create this position already in standing position on the legs. That afterwards, we do the same for handstand. As you see, okay, now he's more experienced, he can do this in link, but when you do single one, we'll ask her, the base to sit without changing and controlling his wrist. This is the main thing on this element. Next, we go with a folder. So everything what we was preparing before with the top, we will try now to make here. But here a few comments what I want to mention for you. Yeah? First of all, look at her handstand. Some of the colors, I cannot say that this is wrong, but for me it's more difficult for a top to do by this stamp. And actually, you know, you can do this stamp with a pretty strong guys, maybe in men's pair, you know, when differences is too small between them. So that top can help to make this folder by closing little bit in the hips, you know, to make it kind of angle. And in the moment of throwing, he can open with the toes. But it's more difficult then because by opening with the toes, you're very risky to change position of the chest. To create this element, I would advise you to start from this handstand, really from straight handstand. So as you see, he's sitting, straight position of his back, straight position of his wrist. And then in the moment of throwing, she just give it heels for the folder. So as you see, you remember when I was throwing this girl this top and to create this folder, I was take her around the shoulders. I was throwing her to let her understand how she has to work with the heels. Yeah. Then the same principle we do in pair. So and afterwards we're connecting together with courbette as well. Now she will do with sitting. And here I want to also mention one thing. You see, position of the arms. We already was in the first session. I was mentioning you when she was in the launch. Yeah? Position of the arms straight, shoulder straight, over her supporting pose, and over his above his supporting point. So it has to be, let's say, one imagination straight line. Yeah. Then after throwing, as you see, he is standing maximum on straight and catching her as high as possible on strong arms without changing position of the wrist. So this will be depending on the catching and final pose. As you see, so he takes her as high as possible and look at the wrist. Maybe it's not that good video to see exactly, but wrist is not flat and they're not too high. So she's immediately landing on comfortable position for her. If she will landing on this comfortable position, she will able to stand correct shoulders in handstand and without continuous rotation, without relaxing back, she will be standing like a stick. So these points are very important. Yeah. One more time, just look in general what should be. Again, base sitting safe in position, in throwing, and end of throwing, she gives heels. She doesn't go with heels too early. She's really waiting his complete moment on straight arms. Afterwards, we're very close to doing this element. Let's say, so three main things, what I was mentioning at the beginning, starting position, then main part, and then landing position. If you do correct starting position, I mean, when base is sitting correct and safe in position of the shoulders and the wrist, top will able to throw her toes in right moment. Afterwards, we do just courbette. And as I was as I was showing you before, the element, the general part of this element, builds from two phases. It's folder and courbette. While you're creating those two elements, you're just connecting them together, and you have salto from handstand to handstand. So one more time, just by pieces. I want to mention a few things as well. So here he's sitting. Boom. Yeah. As you see, he sits without any changing of partner. As she was standing in the beginning, the same she's standing in end of sitting. It's because bass is caring about his sitting and he doesn't change any position of the wrist and the back. Afterwards, the main part begins, yeah? Forte. Too late. So you see that position of the shoulders almost straight. Yeah, there will be little angle, yeah, but not extremely. And she doesn't open her back as well. She's trying to keep her back straight and the work goes only from the toes. Because if she will be relaxed her back, the rotation will be increasing. It will be not possible to catch. He controlling the position of the wrist as well. In moment of throwing, he don't twisting her. He trying to throw her in her toes. And those it's kind of nuances what I was talking in the beginning. If you will not follow the position, you will not control the position of the wrist or position of her shoulders or position of her back, when it's too much adrenaline competition, this element overturn. So the target for you as a coach to build this element in the direction when you have a competition stress and too much adrenaline. That this element just perform on the adrenaline higher and nicer. And of course, it will be happens only if you pay attention on this technical part as a starting position and as you see the landing position. Because landing position, he's also not waiting for her landing. He go as high as possible, trying to catch her. You see, from straight arms, he just take her as hard as possible and he try to fade off your flight on hard arms. He doesn't relax his arms. He doesn't break the wrist during the landing because then it will be depending on the position of the toe, landing position. So this is the main technique, let's say, for this element. Of course, there is a lot of interpretations of this element. You can see some of the players do this element during of the sitting. They start to break wrist and throw. Also, maybe possible, and but I find this more difficult way. Why? Because once you change increase, top start to fall. When she start to fall, it's very difficult to find the moment of throwing because sometimes it can be early, sometimes it can be later because she start to fall and she's not controlling her handstand anymore. Because of this falling, rotation will be increasing. And this will be uncontrollable rotation. Then, of course, it will be depending on the moment of the catching of the landing. So all the nuances, they of course make kind of difficulty. So the principle what I was explaining to you is the most, let's say, understandable way for a base and for a top to make this element and to try to make this element stand. So actually, this is all what I want to say. Just one more time, look at this element. Well, so I think you understand what is it. Okay, thanks for listening. Any questions?
Thanks a lot, Sergey. It was really rich and complementary with your first presentation. So this is now time for the participants to ask any questions if you have some. And Lourenco, if you have any comments, just before we give you the floor to talk about the triples.
I just want to say that Sergey started the presentation saying it's an easy element. But if
finally make it difficult,
how many people we saw doing this in competition, we know it's not an easy element. And in my opinion, it's probably one of the most underrated elements in the code of points. Yeah. Because the difficulty of this skill is much higher than, for example, the double straight that I just presented. You know, it's Sergey talk about so many nuances, so many tricky little things. I think, although it's one of the most beautiful ones, in my opinion, I really like this. And the other thing is that you can make it with big tops if they have perfect, correct technique. You don't need to make them with just small tops. You can make, well, if the base is strong, obviously, you can make it with bigger tops, which is, again, to me, a big advantage for the sport, for showing the sport globally. Well, and that is it. It's the only comment. I really love this, and I think it's not that easy, you know.
I can tell you that you can do this element perform on training, 100 times, but it's always will be risky on competition. And the light top doesn't mean the stability of this element. The same as heavy top, like looks impossible to make this element. This is what Lourenco tried to say. So this element actually, with the right technique, you can grow with this element till senior level and continue to do this element. It's very spectacular element as well. And I can say you that it's always will be risky element. It's high risk element because there's a lot of technical analysis. Okay.
Yes, it's a beautiful element. I agree. So it looks like we have no question from our public. So I think we can now talk to one of the element also that all coaches are expecting to learn. I'm talking about the triple. So I will now give the floor to Lourenco.
Am I out of the presentation?
Yes, you're out. It's
okay. Okay.
So, well, the triple, you know, it's kind of risky for me to talk about this element. It is. I'm not a really. I'm a really fearful coach. You know, I'm always afraid. So I try to teach them the perfect technique. So there's no problem, injury, no risk associated. But when you're talking about a triple, you know, head is going, you know, down 3 times. It's always a risk associated, and of course, it's one of the most, you know, spectacular things that we can see. But it's always risky to talk about this element and the expectation that this element generates. I don't have a recipe. Okay, if you are waiting for a recipe, I don't have. I will explain all the drills I do to achieve the triple back, but I have a disclaimer here. You know, it's one of the most giant things that we can teach as coaches, and we need to be 100% sure that first the top understands everything what he or she is doing, and the bases will catch no matter what. Okay, they will be below the top no matter what. And this is the 2 things that I think are really important, besides the technique. Okay, technique is one part, of course, but then there are 2 things. The top needs to understand what he or she is doing, and you have to have 2 bases, 3 bases, 1 base that no matter what, they will catch them. Okay, so this is my disclaimer, and that is why it is so hard for me to talk about this element. Please do not expect any recipe. You know, it's like when you see videos about stock actions and things like that, and they always say, I'm not a financial advisor. You know, I'm a coach, and this is my perspective. Okay, do not try this at home. It's a little bit like this. Okay, so again, just for us to understand, really brief. The beginning, straight body, arms really in a straight line. When you tuck really fast, you will increase rotation 5 times. This is amazing. Okay, so but you need to make the takeoff. If you start the movement while you are still on the bases, nothing of this will happen. Velocity will go really, really low, and you will not end the salto. One thing I always say to my gymnast is the triple is not a question of rotation, but a question of height. Okay, they need to fly as high as possible. Then in the air, they will tuck and rotate. And it's not a question of rotation, because if you try to rotate really fast, but not jumping high enough, you will not land safely on your feet. Okay, so I've tried many things for triples. Sorry for the quality of this, but it was with a mobile phone many years ago. It was, you know, we were trying and experimenting this triple here. It was nice, but it was so tricky, the coordination, that we never took it on competition ever. You know, the coordination, like Sergey was saying, the adrenaline, that it needs to be so sharp that we never took the chance. But another kind of triple saltos, okay, as high as you have, and that's why this second platform, this second floor, is interesting, because we provide the top with a higher ground. It's easier to do, and then the normal triple back on a trio. So I've done one thing. I've write to all my gymnasts that performed triple, and I asked them 4 questions. The first one was, what did you think before you do a triple? Okay, and it was really nice. Their their opinions, because they all explain pretty much the same things: slow bending, jumping strong, straight arms, and fast fast up, then fast tuck, and then trying to close as fast as possible and close till the end. All of them was saying this: close till the end, trying to land feet forward. Okay. Another question I asked them was, what do you think it's important to teach someone to do a triple? Saying that, for example, we are trying this new salto with some kids at the gym, and I ask my older gymnasts, can you please give him some advice? And they explain them, don't overthink, but focus on technique. Strong jump on takeoff, and always tuck till the end. And I really like this one, is safety first, you know, always tuck till the end. What would be your advice to someone starting to learn triple? And they told me that one thing they think it was important, even if they think it was a really good start, so the takeoff was good, close till the end. Look forward when they were bending, but don't ever lift the chin, because shoulders will be down. Straight arms jump, so it's again with inertia. Okay, they didn't explain me about inertia, but that's what it's in their mind. So arms really straight, so you can have the biggest angular momentum conservation in the air. Take off with energy and always with rigid body. So in their head, translating this is, don't break on the back, okay? Don't try to push, initiate the rotation really fast. And the last, what would be the drills they made and they think it was important for them. So leg power, abs, you know, for the tucking, double and triple on elastic trampoline, and then in partnership, double to platform 9/4 and double to high mats. This was their opinion. I just put them here, but I think it's really cool that all of them I ask, they gave pretty much the same answers that I put here. So some of the drills we do, and you know, I start with the basic, you know, just jump, back salto, catching as high as possible, understanding what they are doing, okay? Understanding the salto. It's one salto, you need to know where to push, where to open, where to land. Everything needs to be in your head, okay? So I will. They need to understand what is 1, what is 2, and what is 3, and just not, you know, giving rotation. Another was the double to high mats, because in like this, I know they know where to open, okay? They know what's a double. The only thing that I take some caution when I'm doing this is that I know that if I'm putting something on the back of the top, she will jump a little bit backwards because she wants to land on the mat. So I do this for them to understand what is double opening to a high mat, but I really like to do the double to platform on the belt, okay? So, and you can see here, she will go a little bit early, so she can jump a little bit backwards. It's not 100% perfect. She goes a little bit with the shin, but I like, she knows where to open, she watches the bases, she can understand what is putting some more rotation, okay? This is to a really, really high mat. When they are able to do this, I know they have the high enough to make the triple, not before. And this is 1.5 meter high. So each mat has 50 centimeters. So it's 1 meter plus 50 centimeters. I know that if they can open and land both feet, I know they will have the high enough if they have the good takeoff. This is another thing that we do. It's a little bit higher than 1.5, but it's just for them to understand, okay, I want to go to one more, okay? Just a little deviation. This is I think to me, the triple part, the tricky part. The double is more natural. They will do 1, 2, and the opening is also natural. So they have to understand that they will need to do an extra push to go on the third. And sometimes, if you ask them, show me what you have to do, they will make a simple tuck, opening the shoulders. They just want to go fast down. And that's the biggest mistake, because they are opening the body on the third salto. Okay, so after the second, they will need to tuck shoulders forward. Okay, and this, I think, to me, is the most important thing I want to pass, is when they tuck, and especially when they go from the second to the third salto, they need to try to make shoulders forward. So they tuck even more, and they don't push head down to prepare the landing. They will do the landing after that moment, okay? I think I will show. Okay, so a little bit forward, and then I always try, this one is not 100% perfect, but the idea is there, and I really like, she opens legs up and she doesn't open legs down. So she opens, and if I want, she will prepare for the next the next salto. And well, it's pretty much everything on the triple. Okay, it's you really need to get as high as possible. And then you will close your body to make the rotation. Have all those drills made before you even think on trying the triple, okay? It just takes one mistake to have a catastrophic problem at the gym. It just takes one. So whatever you do, just go step by step. Repeat more than enough. Don't repeat only enough. Repeat more than enough. Have them understand what is one salto, two saltos, three salto. Have the bases understand what they need to do on the catching every single time. I'm gonna say this because Sergey is here. I was watching a photo of the last trio that was actually in this competition in the European Games that they won. And when they were catching the triple pike, one of the bases, it was really nice. She was really on the shoulders of the top. It was not completely done, but she was already there on the catching. Safety first, okay? And you have to take care of the bases and not just having the top doing that, flourish triple thing. If the bases understand they need to catch every single time, land is the most important part if you want to do a triple, okay? So thank you, Karin. Thank you to the TC from European Gymnastics. Thank you, Sergey and Revaz, because I was in a presentation here with Revaz. And thank you to all the participants that were, on these 6 webinars. Huge congratulations to UAG for making this possible in these, tough times. Education is never enough, and having the power and the stamina to don't let things go down and keep on having people focus on the sport, always trying to learn is amazing. You have today people from Brazil and from Iran watching this webinar. It's not just European. So thank you all for the opportunity. It was a delight. It was a pleasure to be here. And well, any questions? It's up to you. Or even if with a double straight, I can go back on the presentation if needed.
Well, thank you very much, Lourenco, for this presentation of the triple. I think it was very important that your approach showed how important is the security, particularly in this element, and you have managed to highlight really how to learn, how to teach to the gymnast their own security for the tops as well, for the bases. Before we conclude, I would like just to give the floor to Sergey, because he's also one of an important coach of triples, and he has such a big experience in triples. So if you want to complete also, please do. And all the participants, do not hesitate. You still have like 2 or 3 minutes to write your question on the Q&A section.
Yeah, I find this was a brilliant presentation. One of the best what I ever hear about the multiple rotations. I just want to mention a few things. First of all, the triple, will be honest, it's not for everybody. In technique of triple, there is not so many technical nuances. But to make these technical nuances excellent, which has to be done excellent, you have to be extremely strong. So what does it mean? That your top and bases as well, but first it's a requirement for a top. She must be physically strong. Strong in core, strong in legs, strong in arms. So that because as more we do rotation, then more this rotation open arms, yeah, and in pike position and attack position. So she must be able to fight with this rotation. And like Lourenco said, it's a very important point. Please keep in mind that rotation has to go via shoulders. So it means that we're throwing our knee and hips over the shoulders with position in front. Because very often we can see a mistake that they want to open and arch them back. this is the tuck or pike salto, become too big. So they're not closing and the rotation gets slower. But to make this position, the top has to be physically strong to close. So it means that maybe 100 times she has to easily lift her arm. Okay, it's obviously her legs, and really with explosivity. She has to be able to jump very active, with active drawing arms. Sometimes even as a preparation, you use salto tuck, one salto tuck without taking tuck. She just do it without arms. It's one of the little examples. And of course, this strength is the safety as well. So of course, like Lourenco said, you have to be 100% sure that your bases are able to catch her in any cases, even if she is open head down, or even if she is do something stupid or not enough. They have to be able to lay down on her and to be, and as a mat and as a catching a basket, and so you have to be 100% sure on this. And last things. Just the differences between triple and triple tuck and triple pike. There is also, if you're talking about basket, or if you're talking about pitch, if you're talking about pairs or trios, there still exists also little nuances, technical nuances, between double pike and double tuck. So it's just for general information that you sometimes you can succeed in tuck and will have a problem in pike. So don't worry, just try to analyze what is wrong. And by the way, I can tell you that with last trio, it's not even with previous trio with double pike, I also had a very strange situation. First of all, I teach them double pike, which is more difficult. And afterwards, via double pike, we teach triple pike, we teach triple tuck. So it's also, you have to find, for someone will be more understandable to start via tuck position, and for some of them it will be easy to go via pike position. And last thing, what I really also want to mention, don't try to teach this element as elements immediately. So very often we see the mistake. Okay, they doesn't know any knowledge of one salto or double salto. Immediately on launch, and let's do triple. Lourenco very clear, step by step, explain how it should work. So please pass all these steps. Only in this case, you will succeed and succeed safely. Because like Lourenco said, the main meaning of these elements, the beautiful elements, we have go for them, but we have to be sure that all preparation is done clever, in time, with all strength base. That in moment, even if they fall, they're still strong enough, to not smash from the floor, at least, So be careful with this element and take your time. So don't rush and don't teach this element as a one piece. So share this element on the preparation steps and use these steps for this preparation.
It's just imagine a situation that it takes one wrong triple to strain an ankle. For example, just a minor injury, just land a little bit too short and you sprain an ankle. And you spend 1 month recovery. Use that month before preparing, giving core, giving conditioning, giving strength, giving height, perfecting the shapes. And then you will not need to spend 1 month in recovery later.
Is what we say. It may be not the difficult element to make, but it's dangerous element if you miss some part of preparation. This is the meaning. Okay.
Well, thank you both. Once again, we are very lucky that you accepted to share all your experience and knowledge with us. We really appreciate, and I'm sure all participants also did appreciate. Really thank you to have been part of this great adventure, the webinars, technical webinars. I also would like to say thank you to the other experts that were not here today, but were part of the previous ones. I mean, Revas Gorgonidze that Lourenco already mentioned. We also had Yuri from Ukraine, who was Yuri Goliak, of course, who was also part of the last webinar. I also would like to thank Dima, Dmitry Vinnikov from the TC, as well as Nikolai Ivanov from the TC. well, all experts who brought their knowledge and shared that with us. It was really appreciated. I also would like to thank all the participants. Also, I would like to ask you, please send us your feedback, send us your comments, your remarks. We may come back with some new series of webinars in the autumn 2021. So please help us to build this next series of webinars. So we want them to make them useful for you, the coaches all over the world. So please do not hesitate to come back to us with all your comments. I'm very proud that we had so many countries all over the world watching these webinars. We had more than 30 countries in almost all continents. So I'm very proud of this. Thanks again to all experts and to European Gymnastics to have given us this opportunity. Now I will give you a new appointment. So for the next webinars in the autumn 2021, but I really hope to see you, to see all of you in live in the next competitions, probably in Sofia for some of you, for the ones who can travel for the next World Cup, in Geneva for the World Championships, as well as the World Age Group competition. I saw that Cesar Salvadori, the organizer of this event, is also connected. I know they are working hard to prepare this event, and we are very, very impatient to see you all. And of course, we will see you for the next European event in Pesaro in Italy in September. And I hope we can say that we have been through this period successfully, and that all these webinars has been useful to make our discipline grow. So thanks a lot to all of you. I wish you all the best, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Sergey. Bye, Karin. Thank
Bye.
you.